Welcome to another episode of the Fanzone podcast, your home for all things Bolton Wanderers, up the Trotters, the Northwest's #1 podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Just before we get into this evening's episode, there are some things that are more important than football, and recently we heard some very, very upsetting news, and so I will hand over to Ange.
So I think a lot of our fan base knew Andy. He was one of our originals. He's watched the show pretty much from the start. He was always watched on Facebook. So Facebook comments were always off Andy. And we found out very sadly that he took his own life. I don't even know what it feels like to be in that situation. But the last thing any of us want is for anyone to feel that low. So you must talk, please. Anybody's feeling that low, please just message the Fanzone inbox and one of us will have a chat. I was lucky enough to kind of call him a friend. He was part of my ritual for home matches, and yesterday was really weird not seeing him. So yeah, we wanted to dedicate today's show to Andy Gilbanks. Rest in peace.
Indeed, and as Ange said there, you know, if anybody ever feels like they need somebody to turn to, then the Fanzone podcast is the place to go. You can DM either the Fanzone account or any one of us individually, and we're all here to listen, to talk, whatever it is you need. Reach out and someone is there for you. And that just goes for a saying without not just the Fanzone podcast, but anyone, any friend, any family. But yes, it is the Fanzone podcast. Thank you all for joining us this evening. It is a pleasure to have you all with us. Thank you to those of you in the chat already. There is plenty of you. So a very, very warm welcome to you all this fine Sunday evening. We'll get stuck in to this evening's episode. It is, of course, a 3-point podcast. Nothing more exciting than one of those. Perhaps even more exciting than a 93rd minute winner, which we seem to be coming quite accustomed to at Bolton Wanderers. Hopefully we can do things a little bit more comfortably at some point in this season, but we'll get stuck in. It's post-match reactions. Now then, it was a superb game. The performance perhaps left a little bit to be desired in some areas of the game. However, a win against top of the table is phenomenal, especially given the nature of perhaps recent conversations we've had around the performances of the squad. I think nobody can take much away from 3 points at home against Cardiff City, especially given the form that they've been in, not lost away all season. And for us to put up such a strong and determined performance, I think is the right word. I think was a testament to this squad and what Schumacher has got them doing. Dan, we'll hand over to you first. Let's have your initial sort of reaction to the match. How did you see it play out over both halves, and how impressed are you with that 3 points?
Yeah, really impressed with coming away with a win. I think I would have taken a point before the game, and certainly like leading up to half time. I thought it was obviously a test. It was two decent sides going at it, cancelling each other out for most part, especially through kind of the middle of the pitch. I thought they looked neat and tidy, really easy on the eye without ever really cutting us open, apart from that header that they had in the first half, where he probably should have scored, the guy. And it were a bit reminiscent of what we've seen under previous management, isn't it? It were lovely to watch sometimes. Some of the diagonals they were pinging were superb, but ultimately they didn't hurt us, really. And it was an even game. It was one of them where we had to dig in and wait to show kind of our quality. And like you say, 93rd minute, when that lad comes up again with that finish that's just his trademark now, isn't it? I was behind that in the corner in the north stand, and it felt like about 5 minutes until it hit the back of the net. I don't know if anybody else saw it like that, but it was like a floated cross almost, wasn't it? The way it kind of nestled in. But brilliant statement from us. We were all saying, if we want to get promoted, let's get your own form sorted and beat the good teams. Well, they've not lost away this season until yesterday, so absolutely fantastic for us. And to build on that after the Huddersfield game, especially in the manner which we've won both games, is just incredible. It must give those players so much confidence as well. So yeah, wicked 3 points, absolutely buzzing, and it just really strong performance from us, I thought.
Indeed, it was. And yeah, I mean, that trademark finish that we're all talking about, it certainly did seem to take an age to hit the back of the net. It was it was like a lofted cross, and it took forever to finally land. But wow, what a way to top off what was an excellent second half. I thought we were dominant, we were direct, we played really on the front foot, and gave Cardiff a taste of their own medicine, really. I think, the first half they were what we expected, to be on the ball, to be on the front foot, to play quite aggressively, but we responded to that really, really well. We dug in deep when it mattered, and we played, pressing football. In the second half, we almost blew them away. And talk us through that second half then. Obviously, what did you make of us almost coming out the blocks with all guns firing?
Yeah, I echo a little bit what Leslie said. I was bored. There was a lot of cancelling each other out, wasn't there? But like Ed said in the chat, we were patient, and it was really good game management, I thought. It's brilliant that we've got a player like Amario who has another gear, seems to kick in. That gear just seems to kick in at 85 minutes, doesn't it? And wow, he's away. Because other than that, he had quite a quiet game for his standard. But then he's playing top of the league, so you would expect him to be a little bit quieter, I think, in that sort of a match. But yeah, it's nice. Possibly, is this the first season in a while where we've beaten top of the league? I don't know. We don't tend to beat top six, do we? So
it was a conversation for a long time, wasn't it, under Ian Evatt, that we kind of did all right against the teams below us, but in those big games where it mattered, we were missing, I think is the polite way to put it. And yeah, it feels like that might change. Wigan was a perfect example of what this squad can do when they show up and they come to these big games with the right attitude and the right discipline to carry themselves through those matches. Ben, obviously the first half was a little bit. Talk us through the first half. Was it what you expected? Were you disappointed come the end of the first 45? Where was your head at? And thank you, Laura, by the way, for £10. The Wanderers need to win more often if this is what it means.
My mic's muted.
Dude, you're on mute.
I know. Someone has muted me and whatever. Anyway, thanks, Laura. That's what I was saying. If you could read my lips. Yeah, first half was cagey. It's kind of... I've seen a few people say it kind of felt like a bit of a championship game where two good teams trying to figure each other out for the first sort of half an hour and didn't want to like overextend and leave themselves open at the back, which Andrew's gone.
Andrew's
see, it's not just me. It's not just me with the technical difficulties. Yeah, it felt like we were trying to see how each other was setting up. They were very comfortable on the ball. It was a strange one, really, because I came away from the game thinking they're one of the better teams we played this season in terms of being comfortable on the ball and knocking it about and looking like they've got top-class players, but they barely had a chance. There was that header in the first half, and that was it. They had 4 shots and none on target, which is really, really poor. But that was down to us as well. We were as I'd said in the chat before, we were very organised out of possession, and for once didn't
Indeed, we have got that chance. And I think that was a real statement for the rest of League One. You know, because we've talked about performances and we've talked about games where we've come away with 3 points and gone, it means nothing if we don't back it up. And I think, if truth be told, there are a lot of Wanderers fans that probably would have been happy with a draw heading into Saturday's game, but to come away with 3 points was absolutely magnificent and a real marker of intent, I think, not just from Schumacher but from the players as well, to show the fans and the rest of League One what they're about and what they're capable of. Dan, as we look ahead now into a couple of cup fixtures that seem to have come at a really bad time for Bolton, but a couple of cup fixtures and a couple of league fixtures as well. How do we sustain this momentum? Because obviously the cup teams are going to be, I would expect, vastly changed from those that started in the league. You would expect to see the likes of Cozy Dewberry hopefully given a rest at some point.
He needs it.
Yeah, he will need it, definitely.
So how do we sustain this momentum?
I think it's just a case of being professional, and obviously the squad's going to rotate. He's said you're probably not going to get like a best 11 on the pitch every week. I think that's just normal, isn't it, now in football? Like, everyone uses the squad. So I think it's just a case of believing in kind of the system and what it is we're trying to do, which the players seem to do. Like, you know, everyone's kind of chomping at the bit and giving their all in the games. Yeah, I think it'll be a good opportunity to get some more minutes into some of them who need them, and it might benefit us in the sense of our players are going to be more fresh going into the league games, which is the priority. So, yeah, I think he'll try and win the games. Obviously, they're going to chop and change where they can, but we're getting players back in now, aren't we? And they're going to need minutes because, you know, going into Christmas period where it's a busy period run of games, you're going to need to utilise that squad depth with suspensions, injuries, etc. So get them up to speed and just keep doing what we're doing. And, you know, I don't think there's any reason why we can't put a little decent run together. We've just knocked off Huddersfield away and Cardiff. That if you can't get like confidence through a squad after them two, you know, when are you going to get it? So I think that them boys will be flying at the minute in terms of how they're feeling in approaching games.
Absolutely, and I think there is actually something to be said, you know, in terms of confidence within the squad. It must be at an all-time high under Steven Schumacher, at least. You know, the nature of the way that we've won the games has been as exciting as football fans could hope for. And you actually look at the likes of Huddersfield in the Cup, who are going through a bit of a rough patch, it would seem. You look at the likes of Oldham in the Cup as well. There are actually opportunities for the squad to prove that they don't need last minute winners to keep them afloat. And actually the nature of some of these games could be that if we can put a few past a couple of teams, it might just spur them on to think, you know, we're comfortable, and because there is a certain amount of excitement and confidence that comes from winning in the last minute, but there also needs to be that balance of you can't leave it that late every week. Yeah. So Ben, what are you hoping to see from these cup games as we move forward into the season? Obviously got Port Vale in between the two cup fixtures, but talk us through those.
Yeah, I think the major thing, obviously we mentioned before, is giving our players that basically played every minute a rest. Obviously Cozy Dewberry, I don't know how he ended up. Well, I don't know, one, how he lasted the 95 minutes, and two, how he had the energy to cut inside a whippy top corner because he looked dead on his feet with about 15 minutes to go. Yeah, there's Cozy Dewberry Burstow as well. He came off early, didn't he? Because I think he's knackered. He's been running to the ground. Max Conway has been subbed off the probably last 4 or 5 games now with 15, 20 minutes to go for Taylor. So they all need a rest. And yeah, it's an opportunity for some players that have maybe got as much first team football as they like. You know, McAtee, Randall, Dolby, who's featured the last few games and looked good. A chance for him to start and get on the score sheet maybe. And the likes of Richard Taylor and Forrester and Dempsey, who started the season injured, who have got back fit now and can stamp the mark on the team. Because at the minute our starting 11 is pretty settled. I think it's always 11 out of the same 14, 15 at the minute. So it's a chance for the 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 out of the squad to show they can contribute to us. But yeah, also on that, I just wanted to point out someone's comment at where they gone. Wanderer 1963, and it wasn't just our result. I mean, beating top of the league is one thing. Yeah. No one else in the top 9, I think, won yesterday. So
doesn't happen too often, that does it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, there's a couple of times this season where I think it's been the complete opposite, where we've lost or drawn and everyone else has won, and it seemed like everyone's gaining, everyone's moving away from us pretty quickly. But all it takes is 1 week like that, and I mean, we're straight back in it. I mean, we're still 7th, but we're 3 points off top. So yeah, it is very, very close, and we have been saying all we need is a little bit of a good run to get us back up in there. All it's took is 2 wins for us to be 3 points off top. So yeah, mate, it's, as we've said many times, it's a long season, and we're nowhere near out of it.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
Correct, yeah.
It is, and Wanderers have started with a slow pace, but hopefully things will speed up and we'll finish that marathon in fine form. January is right around the corner as well, and I wanted to touch on this just before we move on. I think something that's become apparent, just by the nature of the conversation we've just had, but also in a couple of episodes, we've talked about the likes of Mason Burstow needing some time away to actually get himself back up to speed and not having to play every minute of every match. The same applies for Conway and Kozu Jubi as well. So with the next couple of months look quite tough in terms of fixtures. There are some big ones in there. Obviously, some people won't like that. Some people will be of the opinion that we should beat everybody in this league 7-0.
Some people.
Yeah.
I think we all know who we're referring to. Yeah.
Colin, are you in the chat?
But, you look at the likes of Bradford, Stevenage, Luton, all providing relatively tough tests. And that leads right the way through until Christmas. January could be a really important time for Wanderers, and we've seen in recent windows that it's been a pretty miraculous time of year. But Ange, what are you hoping to see? Some shrewd business in January? What type of business are you expecting? Who would you like to see? What positions are you keen on bringing through the door?
Yes, I am keen to see some business in January. So I think he concentrated obviously on his midfield and attacking options in the summer window. And I think we need a little bit more defensive cover. So I'd like to see 1 or 2. And that defensive line coming in. I don't know who. I never know who, do I? That's just what I'd like to see. I don't know anyone in particular. But I think we just need to bolster the ranks a little bit at the back, because it does worry me that when we do, and inevitably you do get injured defenders, don't you? Especially when it starts getting into the winter months and the pitch is heavy and the tackles are a bit more brutal. It does worry me a little bit that we don't have the most robust defence.
Absolutely, and you look at the likes of Toll, Sheehan, who will all be on international duty as well. It proves that the squad is going to need to be utilised. Obviously, we're yet to see Forrester featured in the B team, so hopefully he'll not be too far away. It was great to see Osei Tutu back out there. Obviously, he played against Huddersfield as well, but it was good to see him getting more minutes under his belt, and I thought he looked really good. Toll coming back into the side as well and looking not out of place whatsoever after he had a little spell out. He's good as well. Obviously, there's still a few to come back, but I think there is plenty of room for cover, at least in the January window. Right, we'll touch back on Saturday's performance. It is, of course, time for Fanzone Man of the Match. At some point, we may need to reintroduce banning orders because it's just getting a little bit silly now, isn't it? Ange, dare I ask? Oh, well, we'll give it to someone else first. Ben, dare I ask who your Fanzone Man of the Match is?
Yeah, it's a funny one, actually. I don't think it's as...
It's not, to be fair.
It's not as clear-cut as everyone would assume, I think, because he didn't have the busiest of games up until sort of the last 10 or 15 minutes when it opened up a bit more. Kozu Jubi. Obviously, the winning goal makes him a clear candidate. But I think the defence, we have to give a massive shout out to defence because we're restricted, well, the best team in the league at the minute to 4 shots, and 4 shots that were barely threatening at all. Was that header from about 10 yards out was the best they got. Owen Toll, and Johnston, to be fair, who have both been critical of recently. I thought after Farino was out the side against Huddersfield, I thought we'd struggle until he came back in. Because I think he's been our best defender by a long way since Schumacher came in. But no, they were both great yesterday. Owen Toll, especially, I think. I mean, again, I've been critical of him quite recently, and I've not really been that bothered that he's been out of the team. But he's come straight back in with Farino's absence and been pretty good. I thought Dacres Cogley was good as well. Obviously, set up the winner. I say set up. It was a 10-yard pass, wasn't it? Before Cozy Dooby just slams it in.
Claiming an assist for that.
Was it the same against Leyton Orient? I think he passed that ball as well.
Yeah.
2 on his tally.
Hey, it's a reliable source of assist, isn't it? Just give it Cozy Dooby in that space. Yeah. But yeah, I also thought, again, even though they barely had a shot, Teddy Sharman had a good game. He was very. We spoke about it a lot, how every other department of goalkeeping, apart from when a ball comes at his goal, he looks very, very comfortable in it, and he's very dominant in it. He's sweeping. He's so comfortable on the ball. There's a couple of times where, players closing him down, and he just looks really composed and barely gets his kicking wrong. Caught a few dangerous-ish crosses pretty confidently, and never looked really worried. Which there was always a bit of a worry that having a bad start, shot stopping wise, would knock his confidence. But no, he still looks as confident as ever. But yeah, I think I'm going to give it Cozy Dewberry.
It's difficult to argue. But Dan, who's yours?
Yeah, obviously, that moment, it probably would deserve it for that moment alone in the the 3 points with that last kick at game. But I think Owen Toll was brilliant as part of that defensive unit yesterday, and they were all really good. The defence was absolutely fantastic, but I thought Toll looked like a Toll that we've not always seen, whether that's due to injury form or whatever. But I thought he was very composed, and it was a proper good captain's performance. I will shout out Teddy Sharman-Lowe as well, because like Ben said, he commanded his box fantastically and just took the ball with ease. And when you've got a keeper who can do that, it does give confidence to your defenders, no doubt. And he also risked getting clattered, coming out to punch one away in the first half, which showed that he's obviously not afraid of getting kind of stuck in bravery-wise. But Owen Toll, I really, really enjoyed watching him yesterday. And even at the winner where he intercepted that loose pass and went up the pitch with it, and it was kind of him, if you want, that instigated that chance for Cozy Dewberry in the end, to some extent. So, yeah, Toll were great, but there were a few I thought you could give it to. I even thought Simons, he kind of went under the radar yesterday, but there were a few times where he was sliding in at the last moment to block passes into their midfielders, which were really nice. And Sheehan had a good game as well. But it's good when all your team's on it, and it makes it a bit harder for you, doesn't it? So Owen Toll is mine, but equally it could have gone to a few others, I think. But I was really impressed with that defence on Saturday.
Yeah, it's nice when a squad puts together a complete performance, isn't it? And you've got plenty of candidates to choose from. We have notoriously not had many to choose from in some Wanderers fixtures, but it was nice to see everyone at the races. And who gets your vote?
I am going to go with Owen Toll. So I think so, and I've said this before, that sometimes when he's got that armband on, he doesn't have the best performance. It's like he sometimes struggles with the two elements. He's trying to be a captain, and I've worried about him in the past with that armband, but I thought he was great yesterday. I thought he was really calm and composed, and I do think he has better games against better opposition as well. I agree, Dan, in the chat. I agree that it wasn't ACD's best game yesterday. I thought he was quite quiet other than the last 10 or so, which is why I didn't go for him. But I also really enjoyed Josh Sheehan yesterday. I thought he played some beautiful balls out, and he's always so composed, isn't he, on the ball? So he was up there for me. He was a shout, but no, I'm going to agree with Dan and go with Owen Toll.
Yeah, I'm going to round off, and I think I'm also going to go for Owen Toll. There were a couple of other standouts. I thought actually Cogley was really good. I thought he got forward really well. He actually created the most chances in the match as well, which I didn't think. I was surprised at when I saw it, but yeah, I think he seems to be getting better. Actually, playing just as a fullback and having a winger in front of him, a very reliable winger at that. He's got that little bit more freedom, and
having Christie as competition as well. Like he's barely any competition over the last couple of years, and I mean Christie came in against Wimbledon, wasn't it, and had a good game, and maybe that was a bit of I'm not just going to play every minute of every game if I don't up my game, and he has done the last couple of games. So fair play.
100%.
And also, I know I'm putting in here, but I'm glad you both mentioned Sheehan because I did mention him, but I thought he had a really good game because quite often in big games he's looked kind of on the periphery of the games and not really got into it. I mean, I think being a Swansea lad and playing for Newport gave him a bit of extra motivation to beat Cardiff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a bit of bite to him that we don't usually see him in big games.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on, Ben, carry on.
I know that was my second point as well. I thought Sheehan was really good. I think that's a real testament of his character to have not been in the side as a regular starter, but to come in against, league leaders and put in a performance the way that he did. I think his defensive work has gotten so much better over the last couple of seasons as well. He first joined us and he looked a little bit lightweight, but he's not afraid of putting himself about and getting stuck in when he needs to. And I think that's a real strong addition to his game. But yeah, Toll I thought was excellent. I thought he dealt with everything that came his way. And I put a comment in the group chat the other day, yesterday. Has he always been that fast? Because I knew he was quick, but some of the balls that he was chasing down, he was beating their attackers in a foot race comfortably. And I just thought to myself, has he always been that quick, or has he been putting something in his Weetabix?
Yeah, there was a couple of there was a few where there was 2 or 3 first half, especially where they got pinged in behind. I thought we're in trouble, and he just absolutely flew past them, didn't he? I think he's one of them. He's quick over sort of 40, 50 meters, but if someone gets past him, he's done. His turning pace isn't very good, but over long distances, it's them long legs in it.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, Toll is my shout. I thought he was excellent. Really, really good. So yeah, Owen Toll is your Fanzone man of the match. And just before we move on, Liam, I'm going to try and decipher your comment. He did follow it up saying he hates his phone and his thumbs. Let's be honest, we can't afford ACD. Even 4 million in January will be turned down. If you would like to get involved with the purchasing of the Mario Cozy Dubry, there is a GoFundMe set up that I saw on Twitter. So if you would like to chuck some money in the pot and see if we can get hold of Cozy Dubry on a permanent deal, then feel free.
If we all put a few grand in, we'd be fine. We can afford him. Just everybody put a few grand in. It'll be saying we'll have him. But yeah, 4 million, no chance. I don't think.
No.
What? I mean, if we average an attendance of 21,000, maybe 20,000 home fans on average.
Yeah.
How much do you reckon it would cost to take him? And I'll work out how much every season ticket or every person
there is 4 million, isn't it? Unless
I don't think 4 million would scratch the surface of what Brighton would be after.
No.
To be fair,
no, I don't.
It's one of them, innit? I mean, it's so tough because, I mean, I'm sure we'll mention it later, but the best signing we will make in January is if we can keep him for the rest of the
100%,
season.
100%, yeah.
I know it sounds cliche, and then if he carries on the end of the season,
12.
Then who's looking at him? Top end championship clubs, and then whatever money we throw around, they'll be able to double it. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if everyone put 500 quid in, that's 20,000 people in the ground. That'd be 10 million quid. Maybe they'd be tempted at that. I mean, not taking into consideration wages or anything like that, but maybe that'd be a ballpark figure we could go for. So if you've got
something we can have a word with Sharon about, I'm sure, and see what. She endorsed that.
Them Swiss fellas have got a fair bit going on. Right then. Fanzone man of the match is done. Owen Toll takes the spot this week, and then we will now move on. It is 3 up, 3 down. 4 up, 4 down, I should have said. Apologies for that one. Ben, we'll start with you. We'll start with negatives. I think these will be a little bit difficult, actually, but go on, give us yours.
Yeah, hard one, really. Negatives. I'm going to go for. I mean, technically it was today, so I'm not sure if it counts. But I mentioned before, I think I yawned about 4 times before we went live. In about the 5 minutes we were here, so I've managed not to yawn yet. So yeah, I won't be surprised if I do before the end of the pod. But it's because obviously yesterday, because we won and it was an early kickoff, we were out all afternoon and evening celebrating, and then it got to about 10:30 and I was absolutely done in. Came home, went to bed, and woke up about 4 o'clock in the morning. Just couldn't get back to sleep for about 2 hours, which would be all right on a normal Sunday. But I was in work today, 8 o'clock. So yeah, basically been absolutely knackered all day. But I mean, it's worth it. It was for a good cause.
It was.
I like Matthew's comment. He's put his down in. So yeah, we'll get yours in the chat as well. I like that. Matthews, for those of you watching back on Spotify and audio only, Matthews was the guy sat 2 rows in front of me, constantly shouting, thinking he's Neil Warnock. Ange, what was your negative?
So on the same vein as Mr. Radix Electi, East Lower is horrendous at this time of year because it is absolutely Baltic when the sun's in, but then when it comes out, you burn your head. So it's the weather for me was yesterday's negative.
Yeah, I think for the first time ever, me going watching the game, I'm north lower towards the top. I had the sun in my eyes for the first.
Oh, because it's an early kickoff, because it's an early kickoff. So no, the sun's further.
I was trying to think the combination for an 12:30 kickoff and it actually being sunny at the Reebok probably just doesn't happen very often. I genuinely can't remember being at a game and having the sun in my eyes. I know it happens all the time on the East Stand, doesn't it? I always look over thinking,
constantly.
Yeah, I can see and they're all like that. But yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, my negative is also along the similar lines. I had a Bovril at half time. I thought, oh yeah, that'll warm me up. Didn't. It actually just made me more cold, I'm convinced. And it was a rather unpleasant experience. It was absolutely Baltic. And stupid me thought, I'll leave my coat in the car because it was sunny and it didn't feel that cold. And then I got to half time and I couldn't feel my fingers. And people say that as an exaggeration. I genuinely, when I was holding my poor cup of Bovril, I couldn't feel that I was actually holding anything. It just felt warm. Dan, what was yours?
It were the cold, but everyone's said that, haven't they? So what could I say? Yeah, I went out after the game last night. Had a few. Obviously, you still think you're young until you wake up next day, and I've just been pretty much hanging at my backside most of the day, to be honest. So the negative is I can't drink what I used to, and I should have had like a cup of Horlicks and stayed at home or something, and a few Werthers. But yeah, my negative is the hangover that I've had today. It's not been pleasant.
I hear that from quite a lot of people. I won't say older people. I don't want to insult you, but
you just
from people of your age. And for some reason, it never seems to stop them trying. Never.
Learn. We never learn. Never.
Yeah. No. But yeah, that was it.
Right, let's have your positives. Put them in the chat as well, please. Josh's negative was the traffic. He travelled up from Bournemouth. Now, that is some commitment, by the way. Moved from Bolton a while ago, and he goes to a few home games a season. Yes, the traffic. We could talk about that till the cows come home. But positives, please. Ben, we'll start with you again.
Yeah, I'm going to go for... What am I going to go for? I mean... Bit of a cop out of this one, but just the feeling of a last minute winner, because I genuinely don't think there's many feelings better than that in football. And this season I've missed out on a couple of them because obviously Huddersfield was away. I didn't get to that game. Leighton Orient 94th minute, I wasn't there either. I was actually out for the game, so I kind of I saw it on my phone. I didn't quite fully experience it watching it. But yeah, it was some feeling, especially in a big game against top of the league in a cagey game. There's not many feelings when better than as I said, the best player in the league just deciding to grab the game by the scruff of its neck and put one top corner when kind of no one was expecting it.
Indeed, there are a few better feelings. Ange, what's yours?
So I too went out and got ratted after the game yesterday. and I bumped into a watcher in O'Callaghan, is it? The Irish pub near Oxford Road train station. So hello, Leon. It was lovely to meet you last night. So yeah, it was in there with his daughter. I think they probably had gone straight from the game. I don't know. Anyway, it was lovely to meet you, Leon. I said I'd give him a shout out, so there you go. He's my positive. You're my positive.
That is a great positive. Dan, what's yours?
So I normally go with my lad, but he's of an age where he doesn't really have the attention span to sit through it, which is obviously a negative. He didn't get to witness that. But the lad who seems to sit in the same row as us, I've got chatting to him over the past couple of weeks. Don't know his name or anything, but he's a right sound lad. And when the goal goes in, there's something about it, even if you've spoke to someone or not, you jump up and everyone's like just hugging each other and going absolutely mad with people you barely know. And I just think that's one of the good things about football, and how it brings people together and stuff. And I've really enjoyed sitting with this lad. Like I say, I don't know him, but he's a right good crack, and he talks sense, and we have a bit of a natter. But yeah, scoring that and then just like diving and getting amongst it was brilliant. So yeah, I'd say having people who sit next to you who are decent blokes, decent people. I think it were a nice positive to end the game on.
Yeah, that sheer euphoria that is shared between people it takes some beating, doesn't it?
Yeah.
My positive, speaking of euphoria, was that at the end of the game, during the full-time celebrations, there was a steward that was in the away end who was at the top row of the away end who was doing the fist bumps to the Wanderers fans right in front of the Cardiff fans, and that made my afternoon. They were dancing around in the away end, and I thought that's what being a steward should be about. Not taking yourself too seriously and having a good laugh. I'm sure it's probably not what the people who employ these stewards think, but I would tend to disagree. So that was my positive, and that is 4 up, 4 down. Now, let's hand over to the stat man, who I expect will be in a very good mood this week, as his team also seem to be learning how to play football. So it's Gaffer's Notebook, and we'll hand over to Cal, the stat man.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Gaffer's Notebook, where of course we're going to review the brilliant win against Cardiff. And just before we start, yes, my voice is dying, yes, I'm in my work clothes, and yes, I have a sticker on. Deal with it. Right, humongous win against top of the league, is it not? And not to big myself up or anything too much, but that was pretty much exactly how I said the game was going to go down, especially the first half. Second half, not as much. But yeah, you sat in your 4-4-2 mid-block. They dominate the ball. And your system was designed to force them wide, right? And we'll come on to that in just a little second. But yeah, it worked very well. I think we can agree. Because the whole point of the mid-block is to be solid defensively. And you were very solid defensively. And again, we'll come on to that in just a little second. The main thing I want to talk about is your midfielders, right? Because in the mid-block, the midfield is usually the place that makes the tackle or the interception or tries to win the ball back, basically. You don't want to let them pass that point. They quite often get past the front two because it's only two. And then, yeah, the centre mids have quite a lot to do. So, when they tried to play through the centre, it did not always work because Mr. Simons made 2 ball recoveries and 3 interceptions, pretty good. Josh Sheehan made 4 recoveries, 1 interception and 3 tackles. Very good performance from the double pivot, centre mid pair, whatever you want to call them. But the man I want to talk about mostly is, I'm going to say his name right as well. I'll be fair, I'll play a bit of a character here. I tend to say names funnier because I have, just to set myself apart, but Mario Cozier Dewberry, right? And yes, I have called him Cozier Dewberry because he has not yet earned Cozier Dewberry, but he has now, right? 10 recoveries from the wing, absolute joke. A lot of your chances came from him picking the ball up, right? And it wouldn't always be him that made the tackle or that got stuck in with the duel, but he would pretty much always pick the ball up, drive forward, or play it forward. So from henceforth, from the stat man, he will be called Cozy Dubry. And yeah, fair play to him. He was superb. And but to be fair, it was a very good team performance. It wasn't just him, even though he also scored an absolute screamer, did he not? But yeah, the reason you won the game was because you limited top of the league, relegated from the championship, best team in the division, to just 4 shots. So, well played, solid. None of them on target as well. Absolutely brilliant defence. Let's dive in to the individual stats defensively, shall we? Conway, 4 interceptions, 2 clearances, 2 recoveries. George Johnston, 1 interception, 8 clearances, 3 recoveries. Owen Toll, 2 interceptions, 4 clearances, 2 recoveries. And Josh Dakrez Cogley, 1 interception, 6 clearances, 1 recovery. The right side of your play was absolutely quality. He actually created the most chances in the game with 6 from blooming right back, right? So, yeah. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, fair play. What a performance. More of that. And the only issue is, and we've said this before, is you can't play like that against everyone, can you? Because not everyone is going to try to dominate the ball against you. Now, you can take some principles from this, and potentially what you do in the future is you play your normal way when you've got the ball. But when you've not got the ball, you sit in a 4-4-2, right? And that can happen against anybody. Not teams who aren't going to try to keep the ball as much, who just want to play quick every time they get the ball. You may not have as many opportunities to do it. But what tends to happen is to sit in your 4-4-2 mid-block, you have to decide to regroup into your structure before you start counter-pressing when you lose the ball, right? That's not always the case, but for quite often. However, right, if you go to counter-press straight away, you can leave gaps in your defence, which is what has happened on quite a few occasions this season. So, potentially that's what you look to do. Sit in the 4-4-2 when you've not got the ball. Forget about pressing as soon as you've lost it, unless it's in a certain place, have a certain trigger. Just get back in your 4-4-2, then you press. And yeah, that could work. It's definitely something to think about. Against some teams it will work better than others, as yeah, that will not work against every team in the league. However, credit where credit is due. Fair play. And I'm going to give myself a pat on the back as well. Just because why not? But anyway, you don't want to hear me ramble on about stats when Cozy Dubry just bang that in. Top ins in the last minute, do you? So enjoy the rest of the show, and I'm sure I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Wonderful as ever from our stat man. Somehow he gets better and better every single week.
He definitely eats blue Smarties before he does that.
You got to have that one of them little brain lickers or something. Yeah, he's just brilliant. For those of you wondering as well, if you don't know what the Statman does, he coaches on a Saturday. Now, he did mention it in a previous episode that his voice had gone because he was working in the morning, but didn't allude as to what he did. So for all we know, he could have been working on a market or selling Avon, shouting at people. But that is what the Statman does. He coaches on a Saturday. That's why he was in his gaffer's outfit.
Small people, I think it's small people, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. That's why he shouts. Yeah, he's not just horrible. But yeah, I mean, there's so much there that we could pick up on. The interesting point for me was that suggestion that perhaps we could look to relinquish a little bit of the ball and that high press in some games. Obviously, it worked really well in the first half against Cardiff, and it almost looked like we tied them out a little bit, and were able to then come out in the second half and be our dangerous, aggressive selves. Dan, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's horses for courses, isn't it? Like, different games, you're gonna some you're gonna be able to. They'll do all their analysis and that, won't they? They'll figure out players who aren't comfortable at ball. If we go at them, if we press them, we might have a chance of nicking it. I completely agree with him. If we'd have done that kind of full press against Cardiff, they had the ability to just like knock it round corners, didn't they? And like you said, leave gaps. So he was spot on with that. I think we can be suited to sitting in a bit more. I think we look really disciplined without the ball. And that's a big credit to Shuey. Obviously, he's done a lot of work on the kind of out of possession shape. So I think it's very much going to be game dependent, isn't it? But it's good that we don't just have one way to approach games. Like, he's adapting to different opponents and whatnot. So, I completely agree with the stat man, as always, really. But yeah, I think we've got enough in our locker to kind of change it up as and when we need to now, especially with Shuey kind of sorting us out. Like I said, the shape that we can take on. So yeah, confident in terms of going forward in not just being inflexible and different approaches. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice. Isn't it nice?
It is nice.
Do the same thing over and over
It's
again.
refreshing, isn't it? It's refreshing.
Absolutely, yeah.
It is, and we'll touch on fan focus now as well. Just before we do, this evening's episode is of course sponsored by
AI. Loving my socials. Here we go.
I actually pressed the wrong one. Then there is.
I
thought it was the other Ben. I should have named them the right way around. Yeah, there you go. Just humiliate myself because I've got nothing better to do on a Sunday evening. Yeah, this evening's episode is sponsored by Loving My Socials. There you have it. If you want to find out any more about any of our sponsors, then if you head to our website, www.fanzonepod.co.uk, you can do exactly that. But it is now, of course, time for no, it's not post-match reactions, Ben. I've lost my head, fell off now. It's Fanzone Fan Focus. And whilst this is playing, I'm going to go and rename those stupid sponsor shout-outs. A very worthy first mention. Sorry, this comment's a little large and it covers up the whole of the bottom of the screen. For those of you watching, Dan Sumner has said, "Can we just put some respect on Cal's name? He used to get some unjust stick about people going making a brew or off to the loo when it was his segment, and now he's getting the deserved plaudits," which I think is an exceptional comment and a perfect way to kick off fan focus. And David's followed that up with Danny's right. Callum also tries for the EFL, which is really interesting. He does a lot of writing, does our Callum. He's a very, very talented young man.
He knows his onions.
He does. He does. He knows all of his onions. And like I said, he does do a lot of work right across the EFL. He does stuff with United District. Not sure why anyone watching this would be interested in that, but perhaps if you are, then who knows? And he's also obviously our stat man, and we are very, very appreciative of that. So, Statman, a round of applause for you. Well done. Segments are exceptional as always, and you can catch him in the preview show on Thursday next if you just can't get enough of our Statman. But get your comments in the chat for the fan focus. It is an exciting segment, this one, because it means we give the floor to you to ask your questions and the topics that you want answering most. We had a comment come in earlier from David that talked about set pieces needing to improve. And as ever, with lots of things in football, they seem to have gone full circle. And lots of teams now, especially at the top levels, are really making the most out of set pieces. And there were a couple yesterday that I thought were decent deliveries. There were, however, the notorious crosses that failed to beat the first man. Ben,
not for both sides. Sorry,
yes,
for both
sides. Both teams.
Corners were terrible.
Yeah,
from both teams. Yeah, I suppose maybe they are much more difficult than they look. It seems simple, doesn't it? Just kicking the ball into the box and someone sticking their head on the end of it. But there does seem to be a certain art form about them, as we've seen with teams in the top flight. Arsenal, obviously the obvious ones to mention. But Ben, what are your thoughts on set pieces? Obviously, coaches are making a concerned effort to improve their output from them. How have you rated ours so far? And do you agree that they are becoming more important?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've always been important, but as you said, as David's mentioned in the Premier League, it's kind of dominated the football this season. I mean, Arsenal top of the league by basically scoring about 80% of their goals from set pieces. So yeah, I think that's was kind of the difference why we didn't go up a couple of years ago compared to Derby, who scored every other goal from set pieces. And yeah, I think there's not many teams that get promoted that you look back on the season and think they weren't the best from corners and free kicks. So yeah, it is something we need to add to our arsenal, ironically. And it's something that Schumacher mentioned before he came in, because obviously we've not been the greatest under effort for set pieces, and it's one thing we wanted to change. So been a little bit disappointed with him. I was singing Sheen's praises before, but there's a couple that were just absolutely dreadful. Just floated in, and it wasn't into a sort of specific area, and the keeper comes out and catches it. And especially in a game where there's not much on it, they're the type of situations where in a cage game like that, it can just be a set piece that wins it and can win you a load of points throughout the season. So yeah, it definitely is something that we need to work on.
Absolutely, and that thing is that all these things in football are circular and they all come back around.
Just to touch on that though, they haven't been great recently, don't get me wrong, but I thought earlier on this season we were quite inventive with some of the corner routines that we were doing. And I think as well, having Firmino playing is a massive thing when you're looking at set pieces, because he's just such a big presence in box. But yeah, just looking at some of the comments there, you think back to the Parky days where we had Marais and like our centre back scored about 20 goals a season. So it just shows how effective they can be, because we wouldn't have gone up without Wheater and Beavers bagging all them goals.
They've been about mid-table, yeah,
easy, yeah. But yeah, it's not been great recently. But I don't know. I think there were encouragement, certainly. Like the beginning of the season, we looked to be trying a few different things, and we've tried it, and it's not quite come off. But I think over the course of the season, I think we'll definitely score a few more set piece goals. There's going to be teams who are more kind of susceptible to them. So yeah, they've not been great, but I don't think they've been absolutely honking all season. I think they've been decent in parts.
They have, yeah. And there was actually a phase under Ian Evatt that set pieces were quite a prominent part of our game. There was a moment where I vividly remember, I think it was Jack Iredale, I think had scored from a set piece. I think he scored a header and he ran over towards Ian Evatt and he was doing this with his hands. Obviously, there's been something there to suggest that players scoring in set pieces would get a nice Brucey bonus. But yeah, set pieces. Who'd have thought that would be like them? Almost ironic with Sean Dyche coming back into management. Feels all these things in football come back around, don't they? But yeah, get your comments in. I did have another one, and I can't find the comment. I can't. I've scrolled through. I can't find it.
Go on. What was the gist? I'll see if I can find it.
Who was it off?
I can't remember that either.
Yeah.
This is a poor showing, isn't it? Someone throw me a line in the live chat. Someone give me something to talk about.
I've seen Liam's comment here. Can I just address that? With
yes, please save me from
because he couldn't attack a ball. It's like you can be tall, can't you? But if you cannot attack a ball, like say, remember Jaide. If you're old enough to remember Jaide, when that lad headed the ball, it stayed met and it flew into the back of the net. Oh, it did. It stayed headed. It stayed headed. But he's never had that spring or that kind of way to attack across, whereas Wheater, he was big, but he was powerful in his jump as well and his timing. And same.
You're right. It's a technique. It's not just who's the biggest man on the pitch. I mean, Kevin Davis, the prime example.
Yeah, 5'10", 11. And,
and won every single header.
Yeah, 100%. I share the frustration because when you look at him, you think, why is he not scoring more headers?
Yeah.
But when you actually watch the corners, he never really meets them at the right time to get that connection, I think.
Indeed. Something we said we were going to do in a couple of episodes is review the Fantasy Football League for the Fanzone podcast. So I thought I'd give you a little live update on how that's going. Not just because I had an absolutely honking game week and I love embarrassing myself on the podcast, but just because I thought it'd be interesting. So if there are any of you that are in the Fantasy League watching along, then feel free to drop your name and I'll let you know where you are in front of everybody. But currently, the league is being leaded by some distance.
Leaded?
Led. The league is being led by Wesley Mort, Morty's Masters. He's on 584 points.
Go on, lad.
Just to put into perspective, I'm on 426 down in 15th. So Wesley's having a pretty good game week. I can see Ben looking down. I'm sure he's checking where he is in the league. Don't worry, we'll get to you. McQuaid, I've been keeping an eye on his performances because we were quite close for a little while. But yeah, I've just fell off a cliff. 473 for Ben McQuaid. And
seeing who's 3 points behind me.
The stat man 3 points behind him on 470 down in 8th place. But Wesley, congratulations. You're currently leading. And I think you were I'm pretty sure you were up there last season as well. But yeah, there you are. Fantasy football roundup done and dusted. I think that's it for this evening's episode. I'd love to carry on and talk to you, but I fear that if I carry on trying to pull things out any more, I'll just all goes downhill from here. So thank you for watching the Fanzone podcast. It has been an absolute pleasure. The live chat has been exceptionally busy, so thank you all for tuning in. Channel members, it goes without saying, but an especially warm welcome to you. Laura, I hope you've had a fantastic evening. Your £10 donation has certainly lifted the spirits here in the Fanzone camp. Thank you all for watching. Take care. We will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.